Hey, I'm gonna read The Origin of Laughing Jack. I don't know what came to my mind when I decided to do this, but I don't know, I was watching the back creepypasta of Laughing Jack, and someone said that this existed, and this is a while back. So I decided why not let me check it out. I was gonna do this with the overanalyst at some point, but he's too busy with school and whatnot, so I decided to do it myself. Now that I know that that makes it significantly less entertaining, but if you have any complaints, please forward them to mdphantasm at youtube.com. Let's begin. This is by Snuff Bomb, who wrote the first one. So this is an official in-canon prequel to Laughing Jack. Already I hate this. It's the wrong it's, damn it. It's possessive. Fuck. Okay, the story, I'm done reading this. This story's awful. I've declared it. Okay. It's Christmas Eve in snowy 1800s London, England, and in a small house at the edge of the town, there lived a lonely 7-year-old boy named Isaac. Isaac was a sad child, but not a friend to his name. While most children were spending time with their families and eagerly looking forward to opening the presents that were placed with care beneath the beautifully decorated Christmas tree, little Isaac spent most of his holy night alone in his cold, dusty attic room. Isaac's parents were very poor. His mother was a strict crow of a woman who stayed at home and schooled Isaac. His father worked long hours down the London harbour to support his family, though a large portion of his earnings went towards consuming copious amounts of alcohol at the end of his shift. Sometimes he would come home drunk after being thrown out of every bar in London, and shouted at his beloved wife, Isaac's mother. Yeah, I can infer that. Occasionally would escalate to violence. He would beat her savagely. Really, we're doing this shit again. Can this stop? Seriously, I'm so sick of shit like this in creepypasta. And it's not that I don't want awful things to happen to people in creepypasta, because that's completely unrealistic to assume that no one would have any problems happen to them or stuff like this happen to them. But you're only bringing it up for the sake of making us sympathize with the character. There's a difference between having a sympathetic character and having sympathetic things happening to him. And when he was done, he'd force himself. Fuck you, Snuff Bomb. Fuck you. Fuck you with a fucking fair bazooka, you fucking piece of shit. Fuck you. I am not even 3 or 5 minutes into this, and I already just hate your guts right now. Then, when he was done, he'd force himself upon her in a drunken sexual rage. Fuck you, you stupid. I don't. All this just to shill your shitty, poorly designed, self-made OC character. Fuck Laughing Jack, and fuck everyone who cosplays it, and fuck everyone who likes the story. Let's keep going. I'm not even close to done. Jesus. I'm already. As it so happens, this particular night was one of those occasions. Isaac just remained quiet, quivering beneath his soiled bedsheets until the screams and loud bangs subsided. Once poor, frightened Isaac was finally able to fall asleep, he'd dream of what it would be like to have a friend to play with, so maybe he could laugh and be happy like the other children of London. Yes, poor, frightened Isaac, having to listen to his mother have all the fun getting the shit kicked out of her. Poor him! Fucking stupid. Even Sally, as bad as that story was and as offensive as that was, at the very least, it's trying to catch sympathy. A girl who was getting sexually abused. No, This woman gets beaten and raped daily, but poor Isaac. And again, and yeah, of course, he would be an unfortunate in that situation too, but yeah, the person who's getting raped and beaten she's kind of getting it worse. Once poor Isaac was okay, we read that. Luckily for little Isaac, this Christmas Eve would mark a big change. When his abysmal loneliness caught the attention of a guardian angel, who then crafted a very special gift for the sad little London boy. You can't treat this as a fairy tale type of story. And then you have. This story makes me want to go play The Path. That's a story with dark overtones done right over a fairy tale setting. A game, rather. Well, a game can tell a story, but there are no dark overtones here. It's just horrible things happening, and you're trying to maintain the sort of fairy tale feeling of it, and it doesn't work because someone got beaten and abused, and you're trying to still use this flowery language to kind of cover that up. It doesn't work that way. As the sun rose on the Christmas morning, Isaac opened his eyes to find a strange wooden box sitting at the foot of his bed. With eyes widened in awe, he stared at the colorful handcrafted box, wondering who had left it. He was not used to receiving gifts, especially toys. What little toys Isaac did have were the ones he found abandoned on the street or washed up in the gutters. Isaac scooted up to the foot of his bed and in the front of the mysterious box and picked it up with both hands. The box was beautifully painted with colorful sides, with carvings of happy clown faces on each side. There was a tag on the box, and it simply read, "For Isaac." On the top of the box was engraved text. Isaac squinted his eyes as he sounded out the words. Laughing Jack in the Box. Impressed. Laughing Jack in the Box? Isaac heard of a Jack in the Box, but he never a laughing Jack in the Box. But never, oh, excuse me, my fault. But never a laughing Jack in the Box. His mind spun with curiosity as he grasped the box's metal clank. Isaac turned the crank and the song "Pop Goes the Weasel" chimed in rhythm with the crank's gyrations. As the song came to its climax, he sang along into the final verse. "Pop goes the weasel." But nothing happened. Isaac let out a sigh. It's broken. He placed the box down on the edge of the bed and shuffled across the small, dusty room to his dresser, where he had caught. He changed out of his soiled sleepwear and into his usual tattered clothes. Suddenly, Isaac heard a loud rattling noise coming from the bed behind him. He spun around to witness the wooden box violently shaking. Then, without word, the top of the box swung open and a parade of colorful smoke and confetti bellowed out. Isaac rubbed his eyes in disbelief of what he was seeing. As the smoke cleared, there stood a tall, thin, multicolored clown man. I don't know why I was about to say multicultural. Although that would make the story significantly more interesting, I gotta admit. With bright red hair, a swirly rainbow-colored cone nose, and feathery shoulders that sat atop its raggedy and colorful clown suit. A technicolor clown spread his arms and silently announced, "Come one, come all, whether big or small, to see the best clown of them all, the one and only Laughing Jack in the Box." Isaac's eyes lit up. Who are you?" he asked. The colorful carny stepped down from the bed with a happy grin said, "I'm glad you asked. I am Laughing Jack, your friend. That's the right. Excuse me. Your friend, your new friend for life. I'm magical and never get tired of playing. I'm a whiz of the accordion, and I adapt and develop with your own changing personality. In other words, whatever you like, I like." Isaac looked up at the mysterious clown man. "We're friends?" Jack looked at the boy while cocking an eyebrow. "Friends? We're best friends. I was specially created to be your go-to not-so-imaginary friend." Isaac's jaw dropped. "You know my name?" Oh, sorry, you said his name, by the way. I skipped. I don't know how I skipped his name. Jack let out a whimsical laugh. Of course I know your name. I know everything about you. So now the introductions are out of the way, how would you like to play a game of I Spy? Isaac grinned from ear to ear. Really? We can play games? I'd love to. Oh, he paused. I can't. I have to go downstairs to see Mother for homeschooling and chores. His smile faded to a look of disappointment. Jack placed his hands on Isaac's shoulders and with his warm smile said, "It's okay. I'll be waiting here for you when you get back." Isaac's smile returned as he looked up at his new friend. Then he heard his mother's shrill voice calling from downstairs. "All right, I'll go. I'll see you when I'm done, okay, Jack?" he said as he headed towards the door. Jack smiled. "Absolutely, kiddo. Oh, and Isaac." Isaac looked back at Jack, who gave him a wink and said, You should wear that smile more often. It suits you." Isaac grinned happily as he turned and walked out the door. All day Isaac told his mother about the amazing technicolor clown man who came out of the magical box that appeared at the foot of his bed. His mother, however, did not believe a word of it. Finally, he persuaded his mother to follow him up to the room where she could behold Laughing Jack himself. They walked up the stairs and Isaac swung the door open and went to his room. "See, Mother, he's right here." He paused as he scanned the room that contained neither the magical dancing clown man nor the mysterious wooden box. Isaac's mother was not amused. She gave Isaac a glare so menacing it made his knees weak and his stomach stiff. But Mom, he was smack. There we go. Isaac's mother delivered onto him a swift smack across the face. His eyes began to tear up and his lip began to quiver, but he felt himself begin to break down. "You stupid, insolent child! How dare you lie to me with such childish idiocy? Who would want to be friends with a useless worm like you? You shall remain in your room for the rest of the evening, and shall receive no dinner." Now, what do you say, you ungrateful wretch?" Isaac managed to swallow the knot in his throat in order to reply, "Thank you, ma'am." His mother glared down at him for a moment before leaving the room in disgust. Isaac kneeled over, burying his face in the side of his head. Streams of tears ran down his cheek as he began to weep. Something like a phone breaking up. "What's wrong, kiddo?" a voice called out. Isaac looked over to the edge of the bed where Laughing Jack was now sitting beside him. Where were you?" Isaac murmured. Jack placed his hand through Isaac's hair to comfort him as he softly replied, "I was hiding. I can't let your parents see me. Otherwise they won't let us play anymore." Isaac wiped a tear from his eyes. "Sorry, kiddo. I'm sorry I had to hide, but I'll make it up to you. Because tonight we can play games and have tons of fun." Isaac looked up at his vibrant pal and silently nodded, and a little smile began to form in the corners of his mouth. That night, Laughing Jack and Isaac played so many fun games. With a wave of his hand, Jack made all of Isaac's tin soldiers spring to life and march around the room. Isaac was amazed as he watched the toys move around the room on their own. Then Laughing Jack and Isaac told each other spooky stories. Isaac asked Jack if he was a ghost, but Jack explained that he was more of a cosmic entity of sorts. At the end of the night, Jack reached into his pocket and pulled out an assortment of a delicious candy. Isaac was in ecstasy as he popped the first colorful mouth. Oh my. Uh, as he was the first time tasting something so sweet. Isaac had so much fun and laughed so hard that night, things seemed to be finally looking up for little Isaac. Until that incident that occurred 3 months later. It was a pleasant, it was a pleasantly warm, sunny London day. It was warm and sunny in London that day. You've never been to London, good sir, which was a bit of a rarity. So, with the help of a certain not so imaginary friend, Isaac was able to finish his chores early and was allowed to go outside and play for a bit. Things started simple enough. The duo were back behind the house playing pirates when Isaac spotted the neighbor's cat sneaking into their garden. "Yar, we got an enemy spy off the starboard bow," Isaac yelled, captivated by fantasy and imagination. "Yo ho, let's go get him, Captain!" exclaimed First Mate Jack in his best hearty pirate accent. Laughing Jack stretched out. Stre- uh, Laughing Jack's arms stretched out across the garden and snatched up the unsuspecting feline, who began to struggle quite vigorously. "Don't let him away! Don't let him get away, Jackie, or I'll make ye walk the plank," Isaac antagonized. Jack's grip on the cat tightened, and its arms grew and extended like anacondas wrapping themselves around the wily feline as it struggled for dear life. Jack's arms just kept squeezing the animal, pressing air out of his lungs. Once, once as the once dear house pet's eyes began to bulge out of their sockets, there came a loud snap. Jack quickly released the creature from its grasp as his lifeless hug thudded against the ground. There was a hushed silence. As the two observed the cow's now twisted, mangled corpse. The silence was finally broken by uproarious laughter, coming from Isaac. I understand being subversive, but this is stupid. I don't know. This isn't even clever. It's just kind of dumb. Ha 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 ha! Wow, I guess cats really don't have lines. Isaac exclaimed, nearly teary-eyed from laughter. Laughing, Jack began to chuckle as well. Yeah, but won't you get in trouble if your mother finds your neighbor's cat dead in her garden? Isaac's laughter quickly subsided. "Oh no, you're right. I'll just throw it back in the neighbor's yard?" Isaac panicked as he grabbed the nearby shovel and scooped up the broken cat cadaver before lobbing it over the fence to the neighbor's bed. My cat was bothering me, excuse me. Ironic. Panicked before he grabbed the nearby shovel and scooped up the broken cat cadaver before lobbing it over the fence into the neighbor's yard. They quickly went back inside and up to Isaac's room. About another hour came, and an ear-piercing squawk of Isaac's mother shrieking his name came from downstairs. Neither Jack nor Isaac said a word as he crept downstairs alone to face whatever horrible fate was coming to him. Isaac could hear much yelling coming from downstairs, but couldn't make out what was being said. About 30 minutes of a teary-eyed Isaac ascended back up to his room. "Well?" Jack asked nervously. Isaac just stared at the ground as he spoke. "I tried to tell him it was you that hurt the cat. She didn't believe me. She said you weren't real." Jack frowned, knowing that it was all his fault. "You know, are you trying to get me to sympathize with a kid who just laughed about violently murdering a cat? Are you that genuinely stupid?" Well, Isaac used his sleeve to wipe away his tears. "I'm being sent off to a boarding school. I'm leaving tonight, and you can't come with me." Laughing Jack's face turned to shock. "What? I can't come? Where will I go?" Isaac said nothing, but pointed over to the beautiful color box where his friend had been originating. "Back in there? But I won't be able to get out until—" Jack paused. Isaac looked up at his only friend with tears streaming down his face. "Jack, I promise I'll come back for you as soon as I can." Jack looked at the box and then back at Isaac. "And I'll be right here waiting for you, kiddo." Jack smiled as a single tear ran down his cheek. He walked over to the box and with a puff of smoke was stuffed back in, unable to be free until it was open again. That night, Isaac was sent off to boarding school. For the first time, Laughing Jack felt what it was like to be lonely. Even trapped in that box, he was able to see the things going on around it. So each day he waited for his friend to return, and each day the room grew older and dustier. One of Laughing Jack's one purpose was to be Isaac's best friend for life. Now he waits day after day, month after month, to reunite with a special friend. Isaac's parents still lived in the house, but never came up to the upstairs room. The only time they made their presence known was when Jack would hear them fighting. Still, Jack's life became one of solitude, loneliness, and disappointment. As years went by, Jack's once vibrant colors began to fade into a monochrome, a blur of pitch black void of stark emptiness, trapped all alone, eternal and hopeless. Again, I can't stress enough, you want me to feel sympathy for the guys who laughed at killing a kitten or a cat. I don't understand what your motivation here is, Snuff Bomb. 13 years passed. Oh, get it? 13, because it's an unlucky number. 13 years passed until the night Isaac's father came home particularly drunk and got into an argument with his wife as per usual. Things escalated to physical violence once again. However, this time she didn't get back up. Isaac's father has beaten his wife into a dead, bloody pulp and was sentenced to hang on the gallows the next day. With both his parents dead, that means that now 20-year-old Isaac inherited the dusty old house he spent earlier the earlier half of his childhood in. Laughing Jack was quite surprised when he heard his old friend footsteps, walking up the stairs to the attic room for the first time in 13 years. However, this was not the reunion that Jack hoped for. Isaac looked different. Not only was he older, not only was he older, but he seemed to possess this odd, grim look on his face. No longer was he the hopeful, curious young boy that Jack met all those years ago. Jack, you killed a cat. I don't feel sorry for you. For fuck's sake, get your act together. No longer was he the hopeful, curious young boy, blah, blah, blah. Jack eagerly awaited Isaac's releasing him. You mean Isaac to release him? On the prison, as he awaited in for so many years. But still, Jack's box sat there, untouched and unnoticed on the shelf in the corner of the room, with all the other dusty, unwanted knickknacks. Isaac had completely forgotten about his old friend, dismissed as some sort of early childhood fabrication. Surprisingly, this made Laughing Jack feel nothing. He was hollow. 13 years of waiting and disappointment left the monochrome clown void of sorrow and self-pity. Jack remained in his box, colorless and without emotion. The next day, Isaac went off work at his job at an Hollister, doing furniture repairs for all the good people of London. Jack waited in captivity. Hours later, a drunken Isaac returned home and stumbled upstairs to his room. But this time, he had a friend with him. It was a lady friend Isaac had picked up from a bar earlier that evening. She was beautiful, with flowing blonde hair, sapphire eyes, and a smile that could make hearts melt. Laughing Jack's attention was drawn to Isaac's guess. Who's this? A new friend? Why does Isaac need new friends? I thought I was his only friend. He thought to himself within his hellish confinement. Isaac and his lady friend sat down on the bed and chatted about life in London. Isaac made a joke about the weather and they both laughed. Laughing Jack hissed as with sorry, my neck is starting to hurt because I'm laying down while reading this. Laughing Jack hissed with envy over Isaac's new friend, and the girl looked deeply. Isaac and the girl looked deeply into each other's eyes as they leaned in for a kiss, locking lips with a passion. Okay, I don't need to fuck. Jack was perplexed by this strange display of emotions, for he had never seen kissing before. As the kissing grew more intense, Isaac ran up her thigh, brushed her hand away. Isaac was persistent. You know, Snuff Bomb, I hate to bring personal business into this. I really do. I can't stress that enough. But reading this makes it rather hard for me to keep the benefit of the doubt that incident that happened with you, with all that stuff that you allegedly did to someone, I have a hard time believing that it was false. When you write shit like this, that really serves no purpose for the sake of this story, and you just put it in there for the sake of doing this. And for those who don't know, he's basically raping her. He's beating and raping her, this woman. And again, I really was. I did never wanted to bring up that whole thing that happened last year with Snuff Bomb. Look it up on your own time. I'm not going to explain it here, but you can get the gist of what this man was accused of doing. Snuff Bomb, seek professional help. If this is the kind of shit that runs through your mind on a constant basis, blah blah blah, raping. Seriously, this goes on for fucking out. Oh my god. Okay, I think it stops around here. This goes on for several paragraphs of him killing, beating, and attempting to rape a woman. Fuck you, Snuffbomb. As the adrenaline began to mellow, Isaac realized that he had to dispose of the body. He picked up the girl's lifeless corpse and wait, before I go on, um, do not send this story to Jacob to read. I do not want them covering this. I look forward to the fucking one with what was it, the last one they made, which was a fucking dating game. And I thought that I hated that story the most. No. Do not tell them to read this. Do not ask them to read this. Because if that shit in dating game drove Jacob off the deep end, this is the ultimate low. Because this shit is so popular, and this character is so popular, and this is what it spawned from. And this isn't even frightening. It's not even disturbing or unnerving. It's disgusting. Two paragraphs of violently beating and raping this woman from a character that we were supposed to sympathize with, and didn't even make sense that you were trying to make us sympathize with him because when he was 7, he killed a kitten. As the adrenaline began to mellow, Isaac realized that he had to dispose of the body. He picked up the girl's lifeless corpse and plopped it on the bed. Then he left the room door open behind him, locking it before leaving the house. He returned almost a day later and re-entered the room brimming with a metal garbage can and a bag of upholstery tools from work. He then cleared everything off his wooden desk on the opposite door and dragged the bed with a bloody corpse in the middle of the room. Not only gave Isaac room to work, but also gave Laughing Jack a front row seat to the spectacle. Jack watched with a big unfading grin as Jack played with his new game of soiled corpse. And once Isaac was all set, he began to work, mm, basically mutilating the body and dumping it somewhere. Somewhere he dumped it in the harbor. For the next 3 days, Laughing Jack watched in wonderment as he inspired Isaac craft the once human anatomy, a grotesque armchair abomination. The femur was made into the back legs of the chair, while the tibia. Let me read this. Mm-hmm. I'm done. Um, I'm done because ahead at some point. Uh, he violently tortures a 8-year-old boy or 6 or 5-year-old boy, and you know, you guys unfortunately will never get to hear part 3 of the dating game. I don't think so, at least. I'm not sure that's ever going to happen because of errors on Brady's side. Overanalyst, if you don't know. And I will tell you this, and I pointed out in one comic section of one of Back Creepypasta videos. In the part 3 of the dating game, when we got to the part where an infant gets violently murdered, uh, tortured, murdered, and basically prop to shock and disturb you. I insisted on reading that part from start to finish because I wanted everyone to get a general grasp of why that story enraged me so much and why I hated it so badly. And I can't, and even then, even after reading all that, I can't read this. I, I, yeah, he killed a little girl, used her as a punching bag, murdered a blind woman. Even after I've read that out loud, and I thought that was the worst you can get. This is the newest slow. I feel genuinely angry and just saddened that people are actually praising stories like this. And it's not just because it's poorly written. Even if I ignore all this, which I really can, people run out of the woodwork to praise this story, and that, above everything else, is what drives me off the deep end with shit like this. I don't know. I don't know what kind of person Snuff Bomb is, and I'm of the opinion that people can read way too deeply into certain materials and think that they can just make an assumption about a person's character. But I will say this: Snuff Bomb. I don't know, and you can't see me right now because I actually am glad you can't see me because it's taking me every ounce of energy I have to choke back how anger and disdain I have towards you. The fact that you take pride in stories like this, the fact that you take pride in the success of the shitty character that you made, I I have to seriously and sincerely question your moral character. This this is I'm just I'm being quiet right now. I'm just skimming through all this torture and it goes on forever. It never stops. It never fucking stops. And down below, what do I have to read? Above anything else, what do I see that really just brings my piss to a boil? This. I love this story. I loved it. It's so awesome. It's so great. Fuck all of you. Fuck every single one of you. I despise each and every one of you. You people do not deserve the privilege of being able to express yourself creatively. Because if this is the kind of shit that you hold in high esteem, nothing you will ever have to say will be worth anything. I love Snuff Bomb, Laughing Jack. This is so awesome. Fuck you. And fuck Snuff Bomb. I thought I could do this. I really did. I really thought I did. I had what it took. Because out of all the members of Blue Majora, there's only two of us, who are entirely willing to ignore the idea of bad taste and just go ahead and just read things throughout. It's me in third of clubs. And I sincerely don't even think that he could even get through this shit. Seriously, Stump Bump, go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! And have a pleasant afternoon.